Hello and welcome to a live Deprogram with Keri Smith. I am your host, Keri. If it's your first time here, this is a live show that I do on Mondays and Fridays at 1 o'clock Central and talk about what's in the news, talk about what's on our minds, and we kind of come at it through the perspective of trying to better understand the craziness in the world around us currently through the lens of looking at ideology, social justice ideology in particular, my old belief system, also known as woke colloquially. Um, Today is Friday, March 22nd, and it's good to be back. Hello, if there are new people here, good to see you. I haven't streamed since Monday. If you haven't seen it yet, Monday I got to do a live interview with Hill versus Babyface with Az about Gamergate, supposedly Gamergate 2. And I was hoping that would be a good primer for people who may not be familiar with all of the social justice and woke incursion into the gaming industry. And I think he was amazing. I think it was great. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Maybe it's something you could share with people on the left if they have questions. I hope so anyway. I hope it would help to explain things. Um, I didn't stream. We didn't stream on Wednesday. I've been out of town. I just got back late last night, and so it's a little bit not on our regular schedule this week. But I'm back today, regular time. Good to see you, folks. I hope you're doing well. I have two announcements. April 27th, which is a Saturday, I'm going to be moderating some panels at Minds Fest in Austin, Texas, at the Vulcan Theater. There's going to be a great lineup of speakers and panelists there, including Jimmy Dore, Lauren Chen, Destiny, who's in the news a lot lately. And the whole purpose is to have people of different opinions debating things. There's going to be comedy. Alex Stein is going to be there, just a whole bunch of people. So if you're interested, if you're in the Austin, Texas area, or if you want to travel, I hope to see you at the event. We are going to be doing some kind of deprogram meetup the day before on April 26th, Friday. I don't have details yet, but as soon as I have a location, I'll let you guys know where. And I know some of you have already gotten in touch and said you're coming to town, so I can't wait to see you in person. It'll be fun. My other announcement is a week from today, on Friday, March 29th, my husband and I are doing our first house concert of the year. We last year we did a few of these scattered throughout the year. This is our first one of 2024. If you're in the area and you'd like tickets, we don't make the ticket link public because it's our home. And so I just need to just send me an email at deprogrampod@gmail.com. I think I've answered all the emails there. If I haven't, I'll get back to everyone who's waiting today. And we still have a few tickets left. So that's going to be a great show. It's my husband, a couple musicians, friends of his. This show is going to be a musician from Munich, Germany, who is just phenomenal. Titus Waldenfels. He's all kind of like old country hits, and he looks like a total cowboy. He plays the pedal steel, violin, guitar. He's just amazing. He's German. There's a big country music scene in Germany. He's played our house concert once before, last year when he was in town. So it's really a treat to have him here since he only visits once a year. So he's going to be there, and then Duke Davis on the upright bass. And Duke is also phenomenal. So I know some of you have already bought tickets, and I can't wait to see you. If you bought tickets, I'll tell you, our house is in the middle of renovation, as you know, if you watch the show. So if you pull up and it looks like a haunted house, that's it. And and then when you come in, it's real casual. It's like old school, like salon feel to it. I love it. People dress up if you want to dress up, wear what makes you happy. Some people bring food. We do provide snacks and drinks. We don't drink anymore. My husband and I are sober, but we have a wine collection because my husband plays a lot of wineries, so we get all these really nice bottles that they give him. So we will have wine, but if you want to bring your own, some people bring their own drinks. Bring whatever you like. Some people bring casseroles and all kinds of good treats to share, but you don't have to. It's up to you. Anyway, looking forward to that. That's in a week. So that's it. That's with the announcements. How are you guys doing? Good to see some of you guys. Good to see you. Oh, hey, Pirate Tomsky's here. Hello, Pirate. So today I thought I would just cover the Planet Fitness thing. I think this is exciting because I've seen a lot of sort of false starts of, trying to have an impact or an effect, to put to on some kind of boycott on a company that, um, has gone woke. And there haven't really been any that have been that successful since Bud Light, and I think this Planet Fitness thing has the potential to be a successful one, and so I just wanted to cover it and give the basic facts, and fortunately, Libs of TikTok has done a mega thread of all the details, so we're gonna go through that thread and then look at a couple other things today. Um, if you're not aware, Planet Fitness has a policy of allowing men in the women's room, and the women's room it's everything. It's a big space. It's not an individual restroom. It's one big space. They have one men's room, one women's room. The women's room there's showers in there, there's toilets in there, there's changing rooms. It's a big locker room and shower room. And there was a woman recently who photographed a man at the sink shaving, and she said there was a 12-year-old girl or someone who looked around the age of 12 who was in the bathroom as well, who kind of looked uncomfortable, was probably waiting for him to leave so she could change. And this woman who reported on this, and complained, Planet Fitness revoked her membership, not the man's. This is their policy. So it's caused quite a backlash, as it should, I believe. And so we're going to look at that. I just wanted to say something up front because I can already hear. I always like to imagine that people on the left hopefully are watching. I know that some of them do. I know there have been people who started hate watching my channel and ended up over time leaving woke ideology, which is my goal. So if there's anyone watching from the left, I always like to imagine they're watching so I can explain things better to that kind of audience member. And also, I can sometimes, because I was a woke social justice freak for 2 decades, I can already hear what they're gonna say in my head. So one of the things I want to say up top, there's a difference between a boycott and cancel culture. There's a big difference. A boycott is voting with your wallet, with your feet. Some people say voting with your feet or voting with your wallet. It's basically saying, "I don't like what this company's doing, therefore, I'm not gonna support them with my money or with my feet. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna support what they're doing because I don't agree with it." That's a boycott. I think everybody should participate in, whether it's considered a boycott on a public scale or not. I think everybody should vote with their feet. Everybody should vote with their money. If, don't contribute to places that you disagree with. That makes sense. And I don't have a problem with that. And I don't have a problem with letting people know that you're doing that and saying, "Hey, I don't like what this company's doing." In this case, Planet Fitness. I don't like what they're doing. I'm not going to give them my business. I think you should look into it as well. Maybe don't give them your business. Fine. Cancel culture goes way beyond that. Cancel culture it's not just it's people who are not content just to vote with their feet or vote with their wallet. It's people who want to cut off a business's feet. That's a that's the best way I've found to describe it. It's not enough for them to say, "I don't agree with this company. I'm not going to support them and I don't think you should." It's not enough for them to do that and to use their freedom of speech to say that. They want to prevent you from being able to go there, to frequent that establishment, to buy that product, whatever. You can see examples of this in the social justice knitting wars, the woke knitting wars, which I've covered in the past, where the woke knitters, the social justice knitters, it wasn't enough for them to say, "Hey, I don't like this knitter over here. I'm not going to buy her patterns or I'm not going to buy her yarn." They actively uh, engaged in targeting all the friends and business associates and trying to intimidate them and coerce them into disassociating. They went to the trouble of stalking these people, going to knitting conventions and harassing them in person, um, you know, petitioning the conventions to make sure these knitters couldn't be there, to ban them from the festivals. It's people, it's controlling authoritarian people who are like, no, it's not enough for me to say I don't like this person and I'm going to tell everybody why. They want to go a step further and use intimidation and bullying to, make sure that person, that nobody can go to their speech, nobody can buy their yarn, nobody can listen to them. That's what I have a problem with. That's controlling. That's authoritarianism. That's frankly evil, in my opinion. So that's a difference. I hope I'm explaining it well. If not, if you have questions, let me know because I want to get better at explaining this. Hello, Knit Effery is here. Speaking of the knitters. Okay, I'm gonna have to sneeze. So give me a second. I gotta mute this. I'm sorry. Okay, it didn't happen. Does that ever happen to you guys? You have to sneeze and you acknowledge it and then it goes away because it's like you scare it. You scare the sneeze. Okay, there. Sneeze canceled. I canceled the sneeze. It's gone. Okay. Yeah, Texas Sheep Lady has a great example, screaming outside the meeting room so no one can hear. That happened to me at an event in Austin. It was a Women Leaving the Left event with myself and Mary Lou Singleton, Megan Murphy, and Michelle Evans, and Isabella Malbin. We booked the meeting space at the Austin Public Library, and we had an event there we sold tickets for called Women Leaving the Left. And the social justice and woke people came to the event, sat outside, videotaped people, threatened people, tried to intimidate ticket holders from coming inside. They also banged on the doors and windows and screamed and used bullhorns so that it was really hard to hear us while we were giving our presentation. That's cancel culture. That's disgusting. I do not agree with that. Boycotts? Sure. So there is a boycott in full effect right now on Planet Fitness. And like I said, who knows what's going to happen with it, but I think it has momentum and it could be the next Bud Light moment. So we're going to get into it in case you have people in your life asking you about it. So you know everything that's going on. Let's start with this. Here's the other thing. Planet Fitness, if you go on Twitter, or X as it's called now, if you criticize them or if you even ask a question, I just asked a question. I can't remember. My tweet was basically like, hey, why are you allowing men into women's changing rooms with little girls in there? They blocked me immediately. You can't ask them any questions. Here, you'll get a block. They're in the middle of doing damage control. It's not working well. But if you go to their if you go to their account, Planet Fitness on Twitter, they're in the middle of trying to hide replies and delete people and block people, and that's always a sign that, in my opinion, that people have something to hide. They can't withstand public scrutiny or questions. So I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, here's the mega thread. So Lives of TikTok has amassed a lot of cultural power, and so far I've been very impressed with what she's doing, with what Chaya is doing, and I think she is overall a force for good in helping to shed light on what's happening in society and the incursion of social justice and woke ideology. And so she's the one who broke this story, and it's since there have been several updates. So we're going to go through her mega thread and take a look at it. This is the first one: Planet Fitness bloodbath mega thread. This might be the most successful boycott since Bud Light. Yes, I agree. This is how we'll take back our country. These companies need to understand that we will not accept this nonsense anymore. Don't let up, pass it on. Okay, so it started with this woman named Patricia. She took a photo here of the man on the right, clearly a man. This is the place we're at now where you don't even have to try. You don't have to you don't have to have any of the surgery or medication, or you don't have to even try to pass. You're just a full-on man in the women's room. There's no attempt at blending in, and that's fine now. If you say you're trans, if you say you're a woman, that's all that matters, because we're in this upside down world where there is no objective truth and anything goes. And so she took a photo of this dude at the sink shaving his beard. And then she did a video from the parking lot about it. Here's her short video clip.
Good day. I just wanted to say I just came out of Planet Fitness, and there is a man shaving in a women's bathroom. I realize he wants to be a woman. He gets to be a woman. I love him in Christ. He's a spiritual being having a human experience. He doesn't like his gender, so he wants to be a woman. But I'm not comfortable with him shaving in my bathroom.
Yeah.
All right. I just thought I'd say it out loud.
So after she shared this, she also said in the corner of the bathroom, there was a little girl, looked to be around the age of 12, who looked really uncomfortable and sitting there waiting. And like I said, I would presume that she was probably waiting for this dude to get out of the changing room so she could change clothes or something. It's like, goodness. And so that was happening, and this guy doesn't care. When Patricia confronted him, he just said, "Well, I'm queer." Okay. So 2 days later, after she posted that and Libs of TikTok covered it, Planet Fitness responded by revoking Patricia's gym membership. They didn't do anything about the man in the girls' room, nothing about that. They canceled this woman's membership. They punished her for complaining that this was a problem, that she felt uncomfortable. Here's her follow-up video 2 days later.
Good morning at 8 degrees below zero in Fairbanks, Alaska. Day 2 of Planet Fitness saga. I came in Monday. There's a man in the women's locker room shaving. A little girl sitting in the corner. She could have been 12 years old. I don't know how old she was. In a towel. Kind of freaked out that there's a man shaving in her locker room. Well, I was offended. I took a picture of him and I asked him, "Why are you there? You're a man with a penis. Why are you in the women's locker room?" And he justified by saying, "I'm queer LGB." And I said, "You shouldn't be in the women's locker room." Well, I left. And as I said this morning, I got canceled. Planet Fitness is defending the man in the women's locker room, the man with the penis, rather than the child sitting in the corner with a towel wrapped around her. So people, I just want you to know, this is weird. It's not good. It's rather disturbing. So I would like for you women to stand up and have a voice and stop the shenanigans. You have authority. Use your authority. I took that picture because I felt like I was in an unsafe space. And so I'm probably going to go report this to the police today, but I just want to tell Samantha and Joe that work there and own it, thank you so much for canceling my membership. You saved me the trip. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
I love this lady. I love Patricia. Totally based. Completely based. She's like, and what she's saying is true. Women, you have a voice. It's time to start saying something. It's time to start using it. Vote with your feet, vote with your dollars. Use your freedom of speech to say what you think about these companies. And as she mentioned, that child that was sitting there was in a towel. So it's what that's why I was thinking she's probably waiting for him to leave, because a lot of women, a lot of girls have, are kind of shy. You wouldn't know it from culture today, but I used to be very shy in women's rooms, not anymore. But when I was younger, a lot of you don't want to change in front of people, even other women. A lot of women they're uncomfortable enough changing, and then you got a dude in there, an adult man. Thinking of myself when I was 12, if I had an adult man in the bathroom with me, unbelievable that this was the gym's response. Anything goes, right? As long as he says he's a woman. So it continues. Planet Fitness stood by their decision to revoke her membership, and they defended allowing women's locker rooms A look at their policies also confirm that this is the official company policy. So they have a whole slogan at Planet Fitness called, they say, we are a judgment-free zone, a judgment-free zone. Here, let me show you this. As the home of the judgment-free zone, Planet Fitness is committed to creating an inclusive environment. What does this mean in woke speak? Let's break this down for a second. First of all, there's the very first part of this sentence is a lie. Um, and I think it's really important to listen to what people say and think about what is the truth and what's not. Judgment-free zone is bullshit. They are making judgments. They just made a judgment. They just made a moral judgment. In their judgment, Patricia, the woman who photographed him and complained, Patricia is a bad person because she did that, and they're going to revoke her membership. They made a judgment. They make a judgment every time they allow a man in the women's room. They are making a judgment that it is the right thing to do. It is the moral thing to do to allow adult men to be in women's changing rooms with little girls. They're making a judgment every time they do that. So call bullshit. I call bullshit on anyone who says moral judgments are wrong. And you should start doing this too. Think of that sentence. Moral judgments are wrong. That is a moral judgment. That's a moral judgment. The point being, everyone makes them. It's impossible not to make them. If you say moral judgments are wrong, congratulations. You just made a moral judgment. There's nothing wrong with moral judgments. I think we should bring them back and make them popular again. We should quit pretending that we don't make them. This is part of the shell game that they do, where they pretend they're not making moral judgments while they make them. The problem I have is that their morals are upside down. You have to have the right morals guiding your judgment. You have to have the right values, the right morals. They have upside down ones. They have the kind of morals that say it is right and good to allow adult men into the bathroom with little girls. That's their morals. They have the kind of morals that say it is right and good to revoke the membership of women who complain about men in the women's room. That's their morals. Their morals are upside down. So right there at the beginning, first part of the sentence, it's a lie. If there are people in your life who say things like this, a lot of times when you're in a cult, especially in the social justice or woke cult, the people who are in it, I used to do this as well. They say things that they have not thought through. They just repeat things. They've never thought deeply about them. They get their received opinions and they repeat the mantras. When I started leaving woke, one of the first things I started doing was really tearing everything. My whole belief system was torn to the ground. And I started very slowly from the ground up, figuring out, what do I believe about things? What's the meaning of life? Is there purpose? Is there a God? All the big picture questions. I started trying to figure that out, what I thought about those. And then when it comes to small issues like different policies, what do I think about that? I took my time with it. I'm still taking my time with it to figure out what I think about things. And I tried very hard not to say things that are not true and not to say things that I haven't really thought about. And so this here, it seems like a small thing. It's not a small thing. If you start interrogating your own language and the things you say, and you start rooting out the stuff that's not true or that you haven't thought about, the more you do that, the more you'll be able to hear it when other people do it, because you've become attuned to making sure you don't do it. You can hear it. People now, it's almost like red flags go off all the time. I hear people saying stuff all the time that's not true or that they haven't thought about, like, this is a judgment-free zone. Bullshit. You made a judgment allowing that man in the women's room. So it may seem like I'm harping on something small, but I think this is very big. I think it's very important. Let's look at the second part of the sentence. Planet Fitness is committed to creating an inclusive environment. So in woke speak, up is down, down is up. Everything's inverted. Woke or social justice ideology, If you look at the theorists, like the academics, the people who actually are writing the theory that guides this whole evil belief system, they make no bones about the fact that they want to destroy everything that's normal. They want to destroy everything that's traditional. They view it as oppressive. Okay. So, and they engage in reversal. They name things the opposite of what they are. It's described a lot of times as Orwellian speak because George Orwell wrote about this in 1984. Everything was named the opposite of what it was. You know, the Ministry of Truth, for example, in the book 1984. The Ministry of Truth was actually, its business was putting out lies and propaganda and censoring the truth. You know, the Ministry of Love was about hate. Like it, and so everything's the opposite. When they say inclusive, they mean exclusive. Anytime you see a social justice person use this word, the word inclusive, it actually means exclusive. It means we are going to exclude people who do not agree with social justice. We are going to exclude people who are not in the cult, who don't uphold the cult beliefs. Inclusive, it means only cult members, only cult ideology. That's what it means. So there it is. Planet Fitness is committed to creating an inclusive environment. That means cult environment. That means exclusive environment. That's why they will ban you and kick you out of their gym if you don't go along with this. It continues. Their statement continues. Quote, our gender identity non-discrimination policy states that members and guests may use the gym facilities that best align with their sincere, self-reported gender identity. Okay, let's look at that sentence. Our gender identity non-discrimination policy. Well, first of all, gender identity is bullshit. It's completely made up. There's no such thing as gender identity. I know a lot of people on the left have bought into this. I bought into it for a long time. That's like saying your race identity, your species identity. It's a completely made up thing. It's not objective. It's subjective. You can choose whatever you want. According to them, your gender identity is as long as you are it's sincere and self-reported. Well, that could be anything. I could sincerely self-report that I'm a man, that I'm black, that I'm 6'2". None of these things are true. And it doesn't matter that it's sincere, that I seem to sincerely believe it. And it doesn't matter that I'm self-reporting. It's not true. It's subjective. So their gender identity, which is nonsense, non-discrimination policy, which means what? Reversal, right? Means discrimination policy. It means they are going to discriminate if you don't agree with this. States that members and guests may use the gym facilities that best align with their sincere self-reported gender identity. Again, totally that means men can go in the women's room if they want. We're fine with it. The member who posted, it continues, quote, the member who posted on social media violated our mobile device policy that prohibits taking photos of individuals in the locker room, which resulted in their membership being terminated. Okay, so again, you just made another judgment. You judged that it was a worse violation, that this woman was a bad person for taking a picture and posting it, that was worse than a man being in the women's room with a little girl in there in a towel. That this over here is much worse than this. That's a moral judgment. You made it. Quit pretending you're a judgment-free zone. If you look at their policy, this is from their operations manual. Planet Fitness operations manual. Some members may feel uncomfortable with a transgender member using the same locker room facilities, bathrooms, showers, or other facilities and programs separated by sex. Now, first of all, let's stop here. Why are you bothering to separate by sex in name only? Why do you still have a women's room and a men's room? Because it means nothing. It's a holdout. It's a remnant from a time when we believed in reality and science and biological sex, right? It's a holdout. It's a cultural holdout. You still have these designations, but you're saying they don't mean anything. You're still having these sex segregated spaces for privacy and changing, using the bathroom, and you're saying they don't mean anything. So why do you have them? It continues. This discomfort is not a reason to deny access to the transgender member, end quote. This is a lie. This is another shell game lie. They're pretending that by not allowing that adult man into the women's changing room with the little girl in there, they're pretending that if they didn't do that, they would be denying him access. That's bullshit. There's a men's room. He can go to the men's room. They're hiding a lie in here. That's a lie. No one's asking you to deny him access. They're asking you to make sure he uses the men's room so little girls are safe. It continues, quote, Planet Fitness staff should work with members and employees to address this discomfort and to foster a climate of understanding consistent with the judgment-free character of Planet Fitness. What does this mean? This means, again, there is no judgment-free character of Planet Fitness. They make judgments all the time. What they're saying is that the staff should work with any women who are upset to try and get them on board with the cult ideology, with the kind of moral judgments that Planet Fitness makes, the woke moral judgments that they make. Your discomfort is bad. Your discomfort at being a 12-year-old girl with a man in your changing room while you're naked, that's bad. We're going to move you over here to this thing we call non-judgment because we're making a judgment. That's bad. So how can we indoctrinate you? How can we get you to accept that this is what we're going to do here? It continues. Planet Fitness shall strive to address transgender members with names, titles, pronouns, and other terms consistent with their self-reported gender identity, if reasonably known to the Planet Fitness staff. Wow, they're bending over backwards for this insanity, aren't they? If you work there, the Planet Fitness wants to control your language and force you to speak lies. They want to make the choice for you. They're making a moral judgment that you should speak lies and that it's contingent. Your employment there is contingent upon you speaking those lies. They will compel your speech. They will compel you to say things that are not true. For example, it continues, quote, a transgender woman shall be referred to by her preferred name and female pronouns. So a man who says he's a woman, if you work at Planet Fitness, they're going to force you to call him she, her. You don't get to choose. They're going to tell you what you have to say. It continues, quote, a transgender man shall be referred to by his preferred name and male pronouns. So a woman who says she's a man, they're going to force you, if you work at Planet Fitness, to call her he, him. You don't get to choose your language. And then the very last sentence here, quote, Planet Fitness reserves the right to terminate a person's membership immediately for any violation of this policy. Wow, sounds like you reserve the right to make moral judgments and to discriminate if people don't get on board with your woke morality, your cult morality. Okay, I'm going to pause here for just a second. Davina says mass insanity. Yeah, it is mass insanity. Thank you for the super chat. Savrix for $1.99 says the wokish project their own self-obsessed psyches. Yes, they do. They project everything. They substitute good for evil, sweet for sour, like the Bible verse. They do that. They engage in projection, in reversal. Everything is upside down. They accuse you of what they're doing. When they harass people, they accuse you the target of harassment. They do that. It's psychopathic. Pirate Tomsky. Hello, Pirate says, what about non-binary cot? Oh, it took me a second. Boycott. Boycott, non-binary cot. Got you. Okay. I do like good wordplay. Thank you, sir. Nerdy girl. 647 says a gym that serves free pizza and bagels to people trying to get them healthy can't be that great anyway. Yeah, that's true. I've got a couple things to say about Planet Fitness. In particular, aside from their doubling down on woke ideology. Here, let me remove this just for a second. Before we get too far into this, if you are looking for a gym, I'm offering a solution, a proposal, and I'm sure other people will have advice in the chat that's maybe different from mine. My husband and I are members at Anytime Fitness. Now, here's the thing, Planet Fitness is super cheap. That's their number one selling point. I think it's like $8 a month. There's all kinds of riffraff that can afford $8 a month. In fact, I know many friends who've been members there who say they often encounter homeless people there. One friend on Twitter was saying, she never felt uncomfortable until one night this homeless lady started screaming at her and calling her all these names, this crazy woman. They set the price so low that you're going to get crazy people there. Back when I used to in my old house before I met my husband, I used to rent out one of my rooms on Airbnb, and I occasionally got crazy people renting the room. And when I met my husband, he was like, "Keri, why is your price so low?" I was like, "Oh, so I'll get more people in here." He's like, "No, because you're getting all the riffraff. You have to make the price higher so it's cost prohibitive to certain people renting it." And that, to me, he's better with money and numbers than I am. And I was like, really? And he was right, lo and behold. Now, some of you who are very economically minded, you're gonna be like, duh, Keri. But yeah, once I raised the price on my room, I was suddenly getting a higher quality guest. And so it just makes sense. So Planet Fitness is like, they're like me back when I had like super cheap room rental. I think it was like $12 a night. You can stay in my house. Of course, I was going to get drug addicts and stuff. It was a bad idea, so anyway, this is my analogy to help make sense. I would suggest, even if you are a frugal person like I am, that you invest. If you're investing in your physical health and you're investing in working out, you should invest a little bit more money than $8 a month anyway, to make sure you have a more secure environment to work out, that you're not going to encounter crazy people in the bathroom or men in the restroom. For example, Planet Fitness, because they're so cheap, they don't have individual bathrooms. They have, like I said, one huge women's room and one huge men's room. That it doesn't mean anything because they let men in the women's room, and it's a bunch of showers. I've been in them before. It's a bunch of showers and bath, toilets, and it's all out in the open. Um, Anytime Fitness costs more, it does, but it's worth it. This is the one I'm going to recommend because it's the one I use. I think it's around $40 a month. It's completely worth it. It you can figure out how to budget to where you maybe I don't spend as much on this thing so I can afford the gym, because the gym's important to my health and being able to be mobile when I'm older and not have a lot of health problems. It's important. It's worth $40 a month, and all the bathrooms are individual. So I don't even have this fear. Every bathroom at an Anytime Fitness it's private. You've got your own shower, your own toilet, the changing area. You shut and lock the door. It's one person at a time, single serve. You never have that problem. This is important for us because we travel a lot with my husband's music, and we have an old van that we converted into a sleeper van. So to save money, so we don't have to spend on hotels, we have a sleeper van. We will usually park it at the Anytime Fitness wherever we're at. They're all over the country. And so we'll be using the bathrooms, using the showers at night, and I've been in there late at night after a show. Like my husband recently, a few weeks ago, played Houston, and I was in there at probably 1 or 2 in the morning, and I felt safe even though there's no staff there because the price. So that's just my suggestion. An $8 a month gym. I've grown. I'm older now. I don't make those same decisions that I used to make that might put me more in jeopardy, in harm's way. So, yes, Davina says, "I suspect Planet Fitness is the bottom of the barrel." Yeah, and people have mentioned, not just Nerdy Girl, that they use pizza and bagels to entice people into the gym. They sound like they're trying to sell a COVID shot, like, "Come on in and work out, we'll give you a beer." Just I don't know. Um Bacon, I don't understand why women are allowed in the gym if all they do is complain. That's silly. Well, this woman was complaining about something very specific, sir. She was complaining about a man in the woman's room where there's little girls in there changing clothes. I think that's worth a complaint, She's not complaining about the gym as a whole. She's complaining about the bathroom at the gym and who they allow in. Okay. So, I recommend Anytime Fitness. I've never felt unsafe there. And for a long time, when we were renovating this house is really old. We had to before we had our bathroom, the first 5 months that we lived here, I showered exclusively at the Anytime Fitness because we didn't have a shower yet. So, as gyms go, this was a good one. Okay. Somebody had a good point. Drainer says, "They want the fat people who won't lose weight, who pay $8 a month and never show up." A lot of people do sign up for gy they're not willing to put the investment in to say, "Yes, this is worth it. I'm willing to pay more money because it is worth it to me. It's valuable, but I'm willing to pay this little tiny $8 amount," I think you're right. I think you're right that that's not the same kind of investment on the whole. I'm not saying there's nobody. Of course, there's lots of people who have memberships there who work out all the time, I'm sure. But that's their business model. They're going after that kind of person who signs up. It's not a big monetary investment, and they never come, I guess. Okay. Yes, that's we were just talking about. That's insane to me, Hefty Joe. Planet Fitness has Friday donuts and pizza days. Literally go to the gym and stuff your face. That's crazy. Okay, let's continue. So again, we're reading through Lives of TikTok helpfully compiled a big mega thread today. We're reading through her thread. So she says, many people were understandably upset that Planet Fitness doesn't care about women's safety and they prefer to put mentally ill men's feelings first. And so then the hashtag boycott Planet Fitness started trending. And then a lot more of their history surfaced. Here's another example of this happening. This isn't the first time Planet Fitness got caught up in a controversy like this. A man in Georgia exposed himself to a minor in the women's locker room. He had reportedly done it before, but they didn't do anything because he identified as a woman. So this is a news item from September of this past year of 2023. Georgia man arrested after exposing himself to a 15-year-old girl in the Planet Fitness locker room. There's a history of these kind of cases. Again, only $8 a month. Pretty inexpensive for a perv to go get his rocks off. Planet Fitness has been allowing men in women's locker rooms for years, and their response is to revoke the membership of the women complaining about it. And so this is another story she covered. Excuse me. This is the headline here. This is from 2015. This is a Daily Mail headline. Transgender woman. So a man. There he is on the right. Why is he dressed like somebody in my comments had a funny comment. They said why are these guys they're never dressed like a normal like an actual woman at the gym. They're never wearing like sweats and, a baggy t-shirt, which is what I wear to the gym. I wear my paint clothes. My gym clothes are so far there is none of that sexy yoga stuff. I wear anything I do yard work in or paint the house in, I also will work out in. So it makes sense, right? Because those are your sweat clothes. So I, I've always, I look like a slob at the gym. That's the one place you're supposed to look like a slob because you're going to get all nasty and sweaty, of course, just like when you're doing yard work. But this guy was like, how come the trans women never dress like a real woman at the gym. They're always dressed like a woman of the night. They're always dressed like they gotta go do some business later. Anyway, that's the guy right on there on the right. Transgender woman at center of claims that Planet Fitness terminated another woman's membership because she complained that a quote man was in the locker room comes forward. Well, look at all the Orwellian speak in this headline. Another woman? It's not another woman, it's a woman because he's not a woman. He's not a woman. If you were to write this correctly, it would say man at the center of claims that Planet Fitness terminated a woman's membership because she complained a man, without quotes, because he is a man, was in the locker room. It comes forward. And here's the details from that case. Carlotta Sklodowska came forward after Yvette Cormier complained to staff at a Michigan gym, the Planet Fitness, when she noticed that, quote, there was a man in the locker room. The staff told Cormier, the woman who's 48 years old, that it was not a man. It was not a man. Your eyes deceive you. It was not a man, but a transgender woman in the women's locker room. And she continued to complain, as I would. Sadowska, that's the man, said that Planet Fitness told him, I'm going to use the correct pronoun here, told him to quote use the locker room that corresponds with how you are dressed. So I guess that's why he's dressed like a woman of the night. I'm dressed like a lady. Cormier's membership was revoked after violating the quote no judgment policy. So once again, they revoked this woman's membership. Planet Fitness revoked this woman's membership way back in 2015 for complaining that there was a man in the locker room where she's trying to change clothes. Skadowska, that's the man, said that he understands why Cormier would see his body structure as masculine. Yes, because it is masculine. It is masculine. So this brings me to what's happening now. Now this, I take this with a grain of salt because I did have a friend right before I started the show who said, well, you need to look at their stock going back 6 months. It's always been in fluctuation. This may not have that much to do with it right now, this dip. Who knows? I'm still optimistic. I still think like the woke believe, they believe perception is everything. And so the perception right now is that this boycott of Planet Fitness is having an impact, and I hope it actually does. And if this is a part of it, great. And if not, let this be great momentum for more people to cancel their memberships and to say, I don't agree with this either, and for it to get more news. I'm still very optimistic that this could be the next Bud Light in terms of, trying to show a company that, hey, the majority of people were not down with this. So here's what Libs of TikTok says. As a result of this controversy, Planet Fitness saw 400 million wiped off their value in 1 week. They still are not backing down, though, and are defending their policies. And so there are several news articles about this. You can see their stock plummeted this past week, 400 million. There's a headline from Daily Mail. Planet Fitness sees $400 million wiped off its value in just 5 days after banning a member who exposed, quote, trans woman shaving in the female locker rooms. And you can see a little inset screenshot there of the stock. And then look at this. So just 2 days ago, Libs of TikTok received a photo of the same man in the women's bathroom, changing room again at Planet Fitness. They're protecting this guy. They're also somebody on Twitter reported being there and said they complained about it and that the staff now has assigned a staff member to accompany him so he feels better because, again, they're doing reversal. So he's like, he's the victim here, right? This man in the girls' room with little girls in there changing. He's the victim here. So they've got a staff member to coddle him and walk around with him. This is him changing. Again, no attempt at all, uh, to to look like a woman. This looks like a former friend of mine. This guy looks so familiar. Uh, anyway, that's just from the profile. He looks kind of familiar. Um, he does have on a short lady skirt there and some black nylons, some tights. This is what prompted my friend to say, "Why do they always dress like women of the night? Like what lady's putting on those black nylons?" But that's him, still in the ladies' room. Planet Fitness managers are now trying to cover up the fact that people are canceling their memberships because of this controversy and because they don't care about women's safety. Okay, so now people are jumping on board this bandwagon. There's lots of people I've seen who are writing to Planet Fitness on Twitter and explaining that they're canceling their memberships because Planet Fitness cares more about the feelings of men who say they're women than they do about the safety of little girls. And if you're a member there, let me know in the comments what happens if you do cancel your membership. I'd like to know because a lot of people are reporting that the gym will not they won't put on the record why they're canceling.
Uh, so I just left, canceled my membership. I went in, the lady who helped me out, she was new, she was in training. She got to the point where she asked the reason why I was canceling it, and I informed her about the Alaska situation and the Planet Fitness non-discrimination policy and how they sided with the man in the bathroom and they revoked the ladies' membership in Alaska. And she's like, I never heard of that. And I can believe it because she's new to Planet Fitness. But what got me was when it got to the point where she had to put in the reason for the cancellation. She asked the manager what she should put in there, and she told him what I had said. He said, well, we can't put that. And they put a different reason in there to justify my cancellation. So not only is Planet Fitness siding with the trans non-discrimination thing, but now they're covering it up. Instead of admitting what they did was wrong, they hid the reason why I canceled my membership. Doesn't matter. I'm no longer a member. They're no longer going to get another penny of my money, and I hope every one of you do the same thing.
Right
We got to
on.
protect our women. We got to stop letting the 1% take over. Take a stand. It's time.
Right on. I dig this guy. I'm going to address someone who I don't know if you're being serious or if you're being sarcastic and trolling, but I'm going to answer your question anyway, as if you're being serious, because maybe there are people who have this question. Um, Bacon says, how is this guy a threat? Talking about the guy that's in the women's room. I think that's rather obvious. You have women and young women, and yes, little girls in a bathroom at a gym. It's not just a bathroom with individual stalls to go to the bathroom. It's also a changing room, and there are showers there. So you're coming out of the shower naked or in a towel, and you have to get into your clothes. It's a locker room, it's a changing room. I am not one of these people who somehow believes that they're in this new world that we're living in that pretends there's no difference between men and women. There are many differences between men and women, not just biologically. But biological being the most fundamental. And I believe in the importance of single sex spaces, both for men and for women. We, over the past few decades, have been eradicating this with this false notion that there's no difference between men and women, and we should always be together, and women should be allowed into men's spaces, and men should be allowed into women's spaces. And I don't agree with that hogwash. I think there's obviously a lot of places that should remain women only or men only. One of those being the place where you are the most vulnerable and the most intimate space that you could have, which is a bathroom, a changing room, a locker room, any place where you're going to be disrobing. And this isn't only true if there are going to be kids there, but I think if there are kids there, which there are in a gym, That's the most obvious. If you're going to have a little girl, like as mentioned in this story, a girl who looked to be about 12 years old, sitting there in a towel, in a state of undress, waiting to change clothes because there's an adult man there. I'm kind of finding it hard to explain something that should be obvious to any person. So if I'm not doing it well, help me out here. Let me know what you're failing to understand, why that's a problem, why it's a problem that there's an adult male in a changing room with a little girl. That should be very obvious. But I also think it's a problem to have an adult male in a changing room with, if it's just adult women. Um, the woman who took the photo and made the video, who got banned from the gym, had every right to say, I feel uncomfortable with this man here. I would feel uncomfortable with a man in the bathroom with me. And most of the men I know would feel uncomfortable with me in their bathroom for good reason. 15-year-olds are not little girls. It's a young woman. A 15-year-old is still a minor, sir. And by the way, she wasn't 15. You've concocted that age yourself. The woman said she looked to be about 12. But in the United States, it depends on the country, of course, but here in the US and in Alaska where this happened, um, a 15-year-old is still a minor. So you don't have to shower there. Yeah, but it's my gym. I'm paying for a membership, right? So I should be allowed to. I don't understand this line of, you remind me of the people who say, you don't have to have a gun. You don't have to say what you want on the internet. You don't have to breathe air. You don't have to eat food. You don't have to own a car. You don't have to drive. At this point, I think you're a time waster. I think I'm figuring it out, but yeah. For anyone who did have questions, just in case, I addressed you as if you were operating in good faith, but I don't think you are. So I'll continue. Let's see. I'm going to put this back up, the main screen. Okay. So this is another tweet from Lives of TikTok in the mega thread about the Planet Fitness bloodbath. Planet Fitness tries to cover up the whole story from customers, and employees are telling people that the story is fake. Now, I already listened to this. I don't know if you guys have heard it yet, but we're going to play it because it's funny to hear what they're telling people who call. That's why I said, if you have a membership there and you decide to cancel it, first of all, I might suggest that you even record it if you call them like this, just to see what they say. But either way, I'd like to hear in the comments what happened when you canceled, because it seems like they want to make sure it's not a part of the record that this is why people are canceling.
Thank you for calling Planet Fitness Member Support. This is Juju, who I have the pleasure of speaking with.
Hi, yeah, my name is Christian.
Hi, Christian. How can I help you?
Hi, yes. I'm just calling in regards to just some recent news that was surrounding. I guess there's some controversy online for Planet Fitness or something, regarding like locker room policy and whatnot. I have a daughter who's wants to sign up, and obviously as a parent, I'm not sure if you're a parent, but obviously I have concerns for her safety, and I just wanted to call in. I have a few questions before I sign her up. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course. And yeah, trust me, I understand. I got 2 kids myself. And I tell our folks this, it is a judgment-free zone. And y'all...
I just had to pause it for a second. Look, right off the bat, she says the Planet Fitness mantra. This is their slogan. It is a judgment-free zone. Of course, we know it's not, because you have a code of woke morals. I think they're terrible morals, but you make moral judgments, Planet Fitness. You morally judge women who have a problem with men in their changing rooms. You even revoke their membership and you block them if they complain. So it's not a judgment-free zone.
I'll know that way before signing up with Planet Fitness. And if you ever witness or experience discrimination from a member, you always need to report it to us, or if something comes up to us, because we've never had any situations where...
Okay, so she says, if you ever experience discrimination, report it to us. But again, only within their cult ideology will it be counted as discrimination. So if you are a trans identified person, if you're a man who says you're a woman, you can come and complain to them and they'll take it seriously. But if you're an actual woman and you complain, they're not going to consider, they're going to discriminate against you. They will revoke your membership. They've done it several times now. They will kick you out of their gym. They will discriminate against you. So who do you report that to? If you experience discrimination, come and tell us. Well, you just canceled my membership. You just discriminated against me. Who do I tell? Who do I tell?
How I've seen this video with viral TikTok, and what she's saying isn't what exactly happened. And people can take anything online and turn it. So we had to, of course, they did a full investigation, and that's why I say, based on our non-discrimination policy, we don't discriminate against anybody, alien, monster, nobody.
Let's pause it right there. They also like to do this, the woke like to do this, where they throw in things that are not real to, and not just the woke, liars do this. Liars will take something extreme, like, and they'll say, we don't discriminate against anybody, not even, she says, aliens or monsters. That lets you know how we really don't discriminate, because we wouldn't even discriminate against a leprechaun or something that's not that nobody. We don't discriminate against aliens even or monsters. That's a liar. I watch a lot of, one of my guilty pleasures and obsessions is true crime. I watch a lot of police interrogations, and you always see people who are lying who throw in these crazy examples to just try and psychologically, convince you that that this is such an impossibility. I wouldn't even do it to a monster or an alien. It's a tell. It's a tell of deceit, I think. But anyway, the bigger point here is she says, we don't discriminate against anybody. We know that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. You discriminate against anyone who doesn't go along with your woke cult morals. Anyone who disagrees with an adult man being in a changing room with girls and with women who are changing clothes, showering, anybody who disagrees with that, you're going to revoke their membership. So you do discriminate. Don't lie to me.
As long as they're not harming you or yours, we understand. Because we don't go based off of race, nationality, origin, ancestry, color, creed, religion, sex, sexual orientations, gender.
This is a lie. You will not protect women or girls in your bathrooms. It's a lie. I would also say, so sex there, that's a lie. Religion, that's a lie. You do discriminate based on religion. Your religion is social justice ideology. Your religion is woke. Anybody who's not a part of that, that's the biggest way you discriminate. Anybody who's not a part of that, man or woman who complains about this woke religious policy of allowing men in changing rooms with women and girls, they will be kicked out.
Identification, age, disability, or any bias protection by law. That's our policy. So, I mean, I understand if you need to take a look around and go maybe do a tour before you sign up. But yeah, that's where our policy comes from with the locker room situation.
So for anybody who's just listening, it says on the screen here, we then discovered that Planet Fitness is telling people that the photo of the man invading a women's bathroom is fake. They're just outright lying and saying that's a fake photo. If it's a fake photo, they're contradicting themselves, because they already previously said on the record that the reason they revoked Patricia's membership was because she photographed that man. And now they're saying, but it's not a real photo. Okay, which is it?
I saw the video in passing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what is this?
Yeah, we had a big old meeting about that conversation, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was
everyone, huh?
Yeah, so yes, we had to, because like it was an investigation, because we want to know too, like we're parents.
True.
So we want to know what exactly happened. So they broke it down, and we're like, it's just crazy how much social media can really fool you. And I said, well, yeah, that's true.
Well, was that photograph of the person who identified as a woman, But was that a real photo of someone in a
No.
fitness bathroom?
No, that was not.
So that wasn't even a real photo from inside the Planet Fitness at all.
Nope.
What a crazy liar! Now I'm a person who, I'm sorry, I have to readjust because it's just, this is the kind of stuff that fascinates me. Human beings, their capacity for evil. I don't believe this woman was told to say the photo was fake. I don't. I believe in the moment she's just saying whatever she needs to do to get this guy to sign his family up. And she just decided to completely lie and just say, yeah, the photo's fake. It's not even from Planet Fitness. Crazy.
Wow. Okay.
We were shocked too. And they had to like pull apart the picture, and it's not in a Planet Fitness restroom at all.
But a recently released photo of the same man confirms he is, in fact, in the women's bathroom at a Planet Fitness. There he is again. Look on the wall at the Planet Fitness stuff. This is a different person who took this picture of him. Same dude. Okay. Here, I'm going to pause this for just a second. We're going to get back to it because we're about to get into the race stuff, which, of course, if they're pushing one part of woke, they're pushing the other parts. John Pagdaleo. I think I got it. John Pagdaleo. I was sighing, not because of your name. I was sighing because I knew I was going to mess it up, sir. Good to see you again. I remember your avatar. Thanks for being here. And thanks for the super chat for $5. He says, I was kicked out of a local Planet Fitness for making too much noise while lifting, but this guy can stay. WTF, right? You're there doing what you're supposed to be doing, working out. Let me ask you, was the noise you were making, was it too toxically masculine? Was it too masculine? Because I could see them having a problem with that. DB, thank you for the super chat for $1.99. Pounds, not lira, pounds. DB says, love your work, Keri. Keep fighting the fight. Thank you. Well, thank you for supporting. Thank you for the super chat. And John also just became a new member. Good to have you back. Okay. He's laughing at my crestfallen expression. Yeah, that was me being dissatisfied with me being able to pronounce names correctly. It's probably the thing I mispronounce the most. I'm not so great at that. Okay, we're going to continue because now this part. It turns out Planet Fitness, this is according to Libs of TikTok, and she's got the source material here. Turns out Planet Fitness also discriminates against white people in their hiring practices, and they're proud of it. Of course they do. Of course they do. This ideology is, if you're new here, if you're not familiar with social justice, I'll explain it really quickly. I'll put this back on the screen. Social justice or woke ideology is a belief system that says the best way to look at the world is as a competition for power among identity groups, and that we need to redistribute power based on identity. And if we redistribute it based on identity groups, then we'll reach some kind of equality. It's like a mutated kind of Marxism. Mutated meaning it's not exactly the same as Marxism. It's very different in some respects. Marxism was sort of, saying the best way to look at the world is as a struggle for wealth among class groups. It was more concerned with money and with the means of production, and we need to redistribute that among all these different classes, among the proletariat, and then we'll have equality. So this is mutated because it's not concerned so much with money and class. It's more concerned with power and identity. It says that the primary means of oppression is through identity, that different groups have power, and sometimes that power is represented by wealth, but sometimes it's societal power, the power to control or to change laws or to decide what's normal and traditional. This is why they want to destroy everything that's considered normal or traditional. If you read critical theory, if you read the academics who've coined a lot of the common, what's now become common woke vernacular, if you read them, they will say that every societal norm, anything that's considered traditional, is not naturally that way. It's just determined by whichever identity groups have power. This is why you will see them do crazy stuff, like when the Smithsonian put out a whole flyer about whiteness, and they said that whiteness was included things like being on time, which if you read this, you're reading it like, this is crazy. This is a document that it seems like white supremacists would get behind this, and they would, because they assigned every traditional norm to being white. They said being on time, the nuclear family, believing in hard work, perseverance, strength, all of these things were white, a function of whiteness. We have to destroy these things. They're a function of whiteness. They want to destroy anything that's traditional and normal, and they try to pretend it has something to do with identity groups. And, with some groups, white people being the oppressor and people of color being the oppressed, or cis, that's a new fake word they've coined for anyone who's not trans, cis people being the oppressor and trans being the oppressed in the case of this Planet Fitness thing. So I wanted to stop and just define that, because this ideology, being that it's concerned with identity and power, any category of identity has gotten sucked up into this belief system, and it's all part and parcel. They have this concept, they describe it as intersectionality, where they say you can't really determine how oppressed a person is unless you look at every single one of their identity group categories, that you can calculate it, right? So me, for example, they would say I'm a woman, so I'm in one of the oppressed groups. But I'm white, so I'm in one of the oppressor groups. And I'm straight, so I'm in another oppressor group. They would have this whole unique calculation for me. And they do that for everyone. And so they say it's all part and parcel. No one is free until everyone is free. That's one of their slogans. And so if you've accepted one part of social justice Jesus, I call it sometimes, like once you get baptized in social justice and woke and this religion, they expect you to speak on behalf of all of these so-called oppressed or marginalized groups. You will rarely see people who are woke just in one category of identity, like trans. No, they're going to be woke across the board. It's a cult. They're going to pick up the language, and they're going to speak the woke talking points across every category of identity. They're like zombies. That's why when you talk to people who are in this cult, a lot of times it's like talking to someone is so boring, first of all, because you know everything they're going to say, like a script. There's nothing interesting about it. You know everything that's programmed out of their mouths. I used to be programmed with all of it. I know all of it. If you know their opinion on the trans thing, you already know their opinion on DEI. You already know their opinion on critical race theory. And I can guarantee you 99% of the time, it's a person who's never even read the theory. They don't know where they're getting these opinions of theirs. They've never thought about it in depth. They just receive these surface level woke opinions and they just spit it out. They think these are their opinions. They're little robots. So yes, of course, if they are pushing trans ideology, that part of woke, they are definitely pushing the race part of woke as well. They never just do one. So here, Lives of TikTok pulled up their DEI report, diversity, equity, inclusion. It says Planet Fitness is discriminating against white people in the hiring practices. Of course they are. Look at this. They have a whole chart that they put out that they're proud of, where they can show through the years. This is the past 2020 to 2022. So they have a little snapshot here of 3 years at the bottom. And they're really proud of the fact that over time, they are hiring fewer white people. Look at this. Our workforce data is inclusive. Again, that's that woke cult word. What does that mean? It's a reversal. It means exclusive. It means exclusive. It means anybody who's not in the cult ideology is out. Our workforce data is inclusive of team members at our headquarters and corporate clubs in 2022. This year, we expanded our team members' self-ID options. Oh, self-ID, what's that? Oh, it's nonsense. It's where you can just opt in to whatever sex you want. We expanded our team members' self-ID options and data tracking to include non-binary gender status. What's that? It's bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit. And then they have this little chart here of gender diversity year over year. And they're excited because they're getting more people who are self-describing as non-binary, trans, etc. And they have the racial and ethnic diversity one at the bottom. This is an old commercial. I don't know if you guys saw this. So Liz of TikTok says an old Planet Fitness commercial confirms that they do not care about women's safety and are even proud to advertise that. I don't agree, actually. Did you guys see this? Let me get your take on it. I actually think this is old. This looks really old to me. I think this is back before they got inundated with woke and they felt free to make jokes about the fact that sometimes you can't tell what gender a person is. Like SNL when they used to have the character Pat, and the joke was that Pat was so androgynous and you couldn't tell. And so it was the comedy around the characters trying to figure out if Pat was a man or a woman. Nowadays, the woke never make those jokes. And so when I watched this ad, I have the complete opposite reaction to Liz's TikTok on this, actually. I think this is an ad back before they were woke, and they're kind of making fun of the fact that this man doesn't know if the woman is a man or woman or not. Here, let's play it. Let's play this.
Finish our tour with the locker rooms. After you.
No, after you.
Okay. Oh,
Had a tickle in my throat.
I don't know which one you're supposed to use.
Dum 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 dum.
See, no, this is not what Lives of TikTok is saying. This is actually back when they had a sense of humor. This is back before they got indoctrinated, and they're making a joke about like this guy. Isn't it funny that he can't? He's trying not to offend because he doesn't know if this is a man or woman. So he's giving her a tour of the facilities and doesn't know which bathroom to show her. That's funny. That's back when they had a sense of humor. So yes, there's my husband. My husband's actually at the gym right now, which we should advertise. If you want an alternative to Planet Fitness, we like Anytime Fitness. That's just one option, but there you go. He's at the gym. He says SNL vibes. Yes, I thought that was funny. I think I think Lives of TikTok is reading that the wrong way. But here, let me remove this for a second. Thank you guys for hanging out. Oh, and thank you for the super chats. Christopher Baker for $2. Please give my best regards to Chrissy Mayer. I will. I love Chrissy. If you guys haven't seen it, she finally talked about something really awful and tragic that she's been going through. Check out her channel if you want to know how she's doing and the state of things. Much love to Chrissy. John Pagdeal, Johnny Pag. That's what I'm going to call you, Johnny Pag, for $10. Thank you. Says, I know you always have problems with my last name. If you get a chance, look up the Lunk Alarm for Planet Fitness. That was one of the reasons I was kicked out. The Lunk Alarm. Here, I got to make a note of that because I have not heard of that. Lunk Alarm. Okay. Thank you, sir, and thanks for the super chat. I'm going to call you Johnny Pag, if that's okay. Beard, thank you for the super chat for $5, sir. He says, America has falsely equated underdog or minority with being the moral one. Yes, that's another thing that's happening. So because this belief system, social justice or woke, it says, the best way to look at the world is this struggle for power among identity groups, and that certain identity groups have always had power and other identity groups don't have power, and we need to redistribute power among groups. And because of that, they view any of the groups that they put in the so-called oppressed status or marginalized or minority status, they falsely they falsely attribute being better people to that as well. And they also assign social status and social credit. This is why you see, if you have conversations with a woke person, they're very racist and sexist, and they're absolute bigots. They're no different than white supremacists, in my opinion. They're just the other side of the coin. And they will say things, they will completely say racist and sexist things to you, invalidate your opinion and your right to have an opinion, and all kinds of things based on your race and sex. If you are in any of the so-called oppressor group categories, they'll try and use that against you, like that's a bad thing, like you're a bad person, and you guys can think of the, I'm sure you've heard, they'll say, check your white privilege. That's your white privilege speaking. That's your male privilege. That's I'm not going to listen to a man have an opinion on this topic. Why not? Or a man can't have an opinion on this topic. They'll say that's bullshit. You're an adult human. You can have an opinion on anything you want to. You can share an opinion on anything you want to. Never let a bigot point to your sex or your race as having, assigning some kind of immorality to you, or an inability to have an opinion or to express it. So thank you for that. I had someone the other day, oh, it's been a while. I had someone the other day who said, gosh, this is I get a lot of hate mail, someone who said something to the effect of, I think it was about something I must have said, and they were like, "Oh, I love it when a white person doesn't believe in diversity." And like, okay, racist. Thanks for letting me know you're racist. Like, all you care about is the race of the person who has the opinion. There's plenty of black people, plenty of Latino people, plenty of people of all races and who have a problem with diversity. Also, I'm a woman. Hey, I'm in one of your so-called oppressed groups. Don't I get to have an opinion? I think diversity when it comes to biological sex is also bullshit. But these people, they're bigots. They're identity bigots. And it completely, once you've shown me that that's your operating belief system, I'm like, dude, you're in a cult. You're in my old cult. So anything you say is sort of like, I'm going to try and treat you with empathy because I was in that cult and I know what it's like. But you've already shown yourself to be not a person who's trustworthy or whose opinion matters. So because you have bad ideology, not because of your race, not because of your sex or any immutable characteristic, because your ideas are flawed. They're terrible. You have an evil operating system. The way you look at the world is racist and sexist, dude. Not you, Beard. Sorry, you just got me thinking about that. Beard, again, thank you for the super chat for $10. Beard says, get a good man to say for the greater good or the lesser of two evils, and you will find no one more eager to start perpetrating greater evil upon their fellow man. James Islington. I have never heard this quote, but thank you for this. I want to make a note of this. This is so true. Anytime you hear them say for the greater good or the common good, I'm immediately skeptical. It's always bad. It's always bad. Every totalitarian government, every authoritarian government has used that excuse. We're going to deny your individual rights. We are going to discriminate against you. We're going to remove your liberty, your freedom. And why are we doing it? For the greater good. Oh, okay. Think about the COVID years. Think about how they excused that. Closing down people's small businesses, discriminating against people, telling people they couldn't go to work, telling people if they didn't make a certain medical choice, they couldn't go out in public, they couldn't go certain places. There were states that did that. It's crap. Anytime. Thank you for this quote, Beard, because anytime you see that for the greater good or for the common good, there's some terrible crap about to happen. Always. And it also makes me think of Beard. It makes me think of the Alexander Solzhenitsyn quote where he talks about ideology. Ideology is the excuse. I'm mangling it. I'm paraphrasing because ideology is what's needed for evildoers to do evil. They need to be able to blame it on good ends. We have good ends, so let's excuse our terrible means, right? They need to be able to believe that they're in the right. They have They're doing it for good. They're doing it for the greater good. That's why they're raping and killing and, whatever it is they want to excuse. They're doing it for the greater good. Ideology is what allows evildoers to do evil. Because they can just say, that's like a lot of woke people do. They say, they think they're on the right side of history. They actually say, like some of them, Ibram X. Kendi, he's one of these woke prophets. He actually says, yes, we have to employ racial discrimination in order to end racism. He says it. Some of them won't admit it, but he admits it. They believe racism's cool. It's good. We need to do it. Why? To end racism. That's why. That's insanity. It's insanity. It's evil. Racism doesn't cure racism. Sexism doesn't cure sexism. Channel Julio for 1999. Thank you for the super chat. Good to see you, sir. He says, speaking of dysmorphia, have you seen the trailer for the remake of The Bodyguard? Lizzo plays the Whitney. Are you joking? Wait, Lizzo plays the Whitney Houston character, and Kevin Costner's role is played by Elliot Page. Comedy ensues when Page carries Lizzo through the crowd. Are you joking? I think you're joking. No. You got me for a second. You got me. I was like, oh, this sounds terrible. You should know, even though I worked in comedy, I'm very gullible. Well, usually it's very easy to pull one over on me. Like, that sounds terrible. Thank you for the super chat. You also made me think of one of the funniest memes. It's so wrong, dark humor, right? But it's so funny. Was a meme of how they were gonna be making a new movie about Anne Frank, and Lizzo was gonna play Anne Frank. And it was just like terrible, terrible. But that's what the woke would do. Disney's version would be Lizzo. And in the role of Anne Frank. Yeah. Okay. That's too funny. Okay. Let me put this back up. Okay, so lives a TikTok, Chaya. She actually she spoke with Patricia, the woman who was banned from Planet Fitness for objecting to the man in the women's room, and presumably they said it was because she took a photo of him. But they've also, as we saw from the news article, they've also revoked membership of other women. We looked at the 2015 case of a woman who complained, so it doesn't matter. They're just trying to find an excuse. It's because she complained, whether she took a photo or not. I'm glad she took the photo of that dude. So here, this is not very long. We're going to watch part of it. This is Chaya talking with her.
Welcome, everyone, to the Lives of TikTok experience. I have an incredible guest today. I am going to be talking to Patricia from Alaska, and you have probably by now seen the viral story of the woman who had her Planet Fitness membership revoked after she complained about a man shaving in the women's bathroom. So now, like, Planet Fitness stock is down about 7% over the last few days. They have mass cancellations. I'm hearing reports from insiders of massive internal panic as they try to deal with this PR nightmare that they created for themselves based on their own policies. So we're going to get to talk to Patricia and hear from her exactly what happened. So welcome, Patricia. Thank you so much for joining me today.
And thank you for inviting me. I'm really glad that you're helping to bring an awareness to these situations.
Yeah, when you posted that video on Facebook, I mean, what were you expecting? Did you think that it was going to become this whole massive national news story?
Oh, of course not. I was bringing an awareness to our community. Pogo Fairbanks is fairly small. I lived here for 40 years intentionally. So when I did that video, it was a matter of me feeling like this can't happen in Fairbanks, Alaska, right?
I'm with you. I would be shocked. I don't want that to happen in my community. So I'm glad that you decided to use your voice and your platform and to share the story. If we could just go break down what happened. So you snapped
Yeah.
a photo of the man in the bathroom, right? And then you were you just like at the gym? You were working out?
My daughter was doing therapy across the street, and I'm a member at Planet Fitness and the athletic club, and it's just simple, easy. I always want to go in there and do a little workout, and I walked in the restroom. He and I caught eye contact. He had full face of shaving cream, and I got his attention, took a picture because I felt intimidated. When I walked out of the bathroom, I noticed a girl sitting, like he was in the mirror to his left, wrapped in a towel. And she was a young girl. I don't know how young she was, but she was young. So I took a picture of him and I thought, well, I'll talk to the authorities and see what my rights are. He needs to be out of here. So I actually told him, I said, you are who you are and you need to not be in a woman's bathroom. So he said, you know what, I'm LGBT queer, I'm transitioning right now. And I said, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't care. By the way, can we just give it up for Patricia from Alaska? Patricia she's rocking what has come to be known as the Karen hairdo, which I love. I love. There's nothing wrong with being a Karen. There's nothing wrong with it. There's this whole thing in the past few years of like a lot of words, the meaning of Karen has changed depending, it morphed really quickly. It depends on now. I have to ask a person, what do you mean by Karen? I have to figure out what do you mean. If you mean a person who's woke and who's trying to squash freedom of speech or trying to cancel someone or whatever, then yeah, I have a problem with those people too. But if you just mean this kind of woman with the business haircut and the business attitude, I like the businesswoman. I like the business I don't mean businesswoman like owns a business. I mean a woman who's there to do business. Do you know what I mean? The kind of woman who's like, this isn't right. Let me talk to the manager. Like, I like that. So give it up for her. She's no nonsense. She's like, I took a picture. I'm going to talk to people about it. She's going to invest. She's not afraid to make things uncomfortable. We need more women like her. So somebody says, is she a Barbara? I don't know. I found out something funny. If we have any of our deprogrammed folks from Germany here today, when I was in Germany a couple years ago, not this past trip, but the one before, we were talking to a friend of ours and in Freiburg, and I was trying to explain something to her, and I said something about a Karen. I said, "Oh, and a Karen, da da da," and she said, "The Karen, what's that?" I said, "Oh, in American slang, it's like a woman who has to talk to the manager, complain." And she said, "Oh, you mean in Erica?" And I thought that was great. I didn't know. So if you're one of the German deprogrammed folks, let me know. Do you call them Erica? She did. So, okay.
You're a man and you should not be in here. So would you please leave? And he tried to argue, so I walked out. So then it was Wednesday morning
Let's pause it. Lots of people are saying she's a Barbara, not a Karen. What's a Barbara? I don't even know. You kids and the slang. I'm not even sure. As much as I love Patricia, whether she's a Karen or a Barbara, I am going to scroll past this because she just restates the story that we know. You can go and watch the rest of that. It's about 8 minutes long if you want to watch the whole thing. I just wanted you to see her on camera because I like her. Okay. And then this is the last part of it. Again, if a company has been invaded by woke, a company, a church, an organization, a hobby group like the knitting world, they don't just push one part of woke or social justice, they push all of it. And so it turns out that they're also partnering. Planet Fitness has partnered with this nonprofit called the It Gets Better Project, which is an LGBTQ plus IA 27, whatever, all the fake identities. They've partnered with this, and it's an organization that puts these inappropriate books into school libraries. A lot of the same books we've covered on this channel that are so pornographic, they have to be edited out of 60-minute interviews. When 60 Minutes interviewed the Moms for Liberty founders, they cut out the material because they couldn't actually let you see what's in the books. You can go to Courage is a Habit. I'm not going to do it today. I've covered some of the books before. They're completely inappropriate. They hide them. They hide this porn behind the LGBTQ identity because that's how they get it in the schools. They wouldn't be able to get it in as one of the oppressor groups. That's why you don't see it coming in. Like you don't see straight porn making its way into the school libraries. They're pulling it in under this banner because oh, it's an oppressed group. How could you have a problem with it? That's what they hide. It's a shell game. They put it under that identity. And so you can see here, Planet Fitness works with these guys. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. There it is. DIE. As home of the judgment-free zone, there's their little fake deceit of a slogan again, because they do make judgments. As home of the judgment-free zone, we are dedicated to fostering an environment where everyone feels accepted. Bullshit. The only people who feel accepted are people who are in the cult, who speak your evil, upside-down ideology. Anyone else, not accepted. In fact, you'll revoke their membership. Bunch of bullshit. Everyone feels accepted. Lie. Respected. Lie. And they belong. Lie. Today and for the next generation. This year, in honor of Pride Month, we partnered with the It Gets Better project to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community and launched a limited time PF Pride collection with 100% of profits benefiting the organization. Once again, they use these oppressed identities that they claim to speak for, social justice and woke. They don't speak for LGBTQ plus people. There's no such thing as an LGBTQ plus community. There's no such thing. People are individuals. They don't speak for Black people. They don't speak for Latino people. They don't speak for women. They don't speak for any of these so-called marginalized identities. They use this to get power and control. They use gay people. Gay people who object to this, like gays against groomers, they get slandered. They get called awful names. They get put on lists. They get censored. Why? Because they are people who are in one of these identity groups that is supposedly marginalized and oppressed, who doesn't agree with the ideology that claims to speak for them. It's the same thing for women when we speak against woke. We get called internally misogynistic and internally, sexist and all these things against our own sex, right? We hate women. We're women who hate women. There's a big list going around right now, this supposed transphobe list. I just saw it. I guess it's rocked Twitter. Somebody compiled a list of all these accounts, and you can search and see if your name is on it. I'm on it. There's thousands of people on it. I'm supposedly a transphobe. I was curious to see who else was on there. They put lots of trans people on there. Transphobe trans people. They put Blair White on there. They put my friend Sarah Higdon is on there. Buck Angel. Like they put a lot of trans people, a lot of gay people. It's supposedly a list of homophobes and transphobes. Who let the trans people in, right? Again, because they don't speak for these people. They don't speak for any of them. Here's one of the things they're doing, Planet Fitness. Give the gift of queer books. Queer. They use that word a lot nowadays. Queer is a political ideology. It's a part of social justice ideology. It has nothing to do with being gay or trans. They use gay and trans. If you read the queer theorists, the ones who are part of this whole ideology we're criticizing, if you read the ones who write the books about queer theory, they say explicitly that they want to destroy all norms, all traditions. They say explicitly they want to destroy the concept of age. This is something else they talk about, not just gender, but age. They talk about exploring, is there an ethical way to explore sex with children? They say stuff like this. That's at the theory level. That's the academics, the architects of this belief system. The queer theorists, they say this. That part of it hasn't trickled all the way down to pop culture yet. It's making its way down. It is. Eradicating the idea of gender and biological sex, that's trickled all the way down now, hasn't it? That's everywhere in pop culture nowadays. The other part's coming. Give the gift of queer books to an LGBT center, a Genders and Sexualities Alliance, or similar LGBTQ plus affinity club at a school near you. At a kid's school. With your donation, we'll send a set of 5 to the group of your choosing while supplies last. Help us fight back against efforts to censor LGBTQ plus inclusive literature. It's porn. It's porn. It's taking it out of school libraries because it's not appropriate for kids. It's not censoring it. You can still buy your porn anywhere that you can buy porn. You can buy it at any bookstore. Heck, they're putting these books on the end caps and they're marketing them as like, these are the banned books. Buy them here. They're clearly not banned. Sales are through the roof. They're being removed from school libraries. Penthouse is also not available in the school library. It's not banned. So this is what Planet Fitness is a part of. I'm going to share something else with you. Somebody in my comments was saying, you know what, Keri, just like a lot of these big corporations, even if the boycott is successful and they lose a ton of money, they've already lost 400 million, they don't really care. Like a lot of the studios, look at Disney, look at all these studios that have gone super woke, they're going broke and they don't seem to care. Somebody said, look at the investors. Look at who's funding Planet Fitness. So I looked it up. Who owns Planet Fitness? Number 1 company, BlackRock. They are the biggest shareholder. They hold 12 million shares. Number 2, Vanguard Group. Number 3, SRS Investment Management. And it goes on like this. It's kind of interesting, right? I'm going to recommend a video for you here. If I still have a mod who's here, Pirate's here. Can somebody drop the link to my interview with Michael Rechtenwald? If you go back in the archives, if you're new here, I got to interview Professor Michael Rechtenwald. He is a former Marxist professor at NYU. Like me, I left the woke cult. He left the Marxist cult. Actual Marxist, not this identity Marxism. And so he understands it really well. And he's amazing. He laid out for me in that interview why it is that corporations are pushing this identity Marxism. Why are they pushing woke? Why are they pushing social justice when it doesn't seem to benefit the bottom line? Even when they lose money, they're pushing woke. Why are they doing that? Why are companies like BlackRock pushing woke? He goes into ESG scores. I think he is the best so far, the best at explaining this for us, for the lay people who want to understand it better. It seems counterintuitive, right? That a company like Disney would push something that's bad for the bottom line. He makes it make sense. Go and watch that interview. Thank you, Pirate. Here it is in the chat. If you have time, bookmark it for later. I highly recommend it. I appreciate it, Pirate. Okay. I'm going to be wrapping up soon. I mostly just wanted to cover the Planet Fitness stuff today. There's other stuff I could talk about, but we'd be rambling for a little bit. So also, I see my husband is home from the gym, so I want to go say hello to him because he's got a show to play tonight, and I won't get to see him for a little bit. So selfishly, I'm going to wrap it up, but thank you guys for hanging out today. If you think this video would help explain this to people on the left, please send it to them. If you have suggestions for me for guests, or you have questions, please leave it in the comments. And if you would like a ticket link, if you're in the Austin, Texas area and you would like a ticket link to our house concert, a week from today, March 29th, there are some Deprogrammed people coming. I've already gotten a link to several people, but if I haven't gotten it to you yet, or you would like the link, you can email me at deprogrammedpod@gmail.com. Hit the like button. Yeah, thanks, Pirate Queen. Also, oh yeah, F&T. Friday Night Tights is going to start in 13 minutes. What's F&T? It's Friday Night Tights. It's a show, Helena, it's a show on a channel called Nerdrotic. I've been on there a couple times. It's great, guys, and Chrissy's one of their regulars. It's a pop culture commentary channel where they bring together the hosts of a lot of channels come together and just have fun. I would call it a guys' night, except they do have Chrissy and they do have X-Ray Girl and female guests sometimes, but it's a real guys' night vibe, which I enjoy. Like, it's fun watching that sometimes. It's been my go-to for a while on Friday nights. So, Melanie Mack's going to be over there. Cool. I didn't know that. You introduced me to Friday Night Tights. Love you that. Cool. That's cool to see it go that way, because a lot of people learned who I was through F&T. I'm always glad. I'm like, cool, I sent somebody your way for, because I'm the smaller channels. That's nice to see. Thanks. I know Chrissy and Nerdrotic. Okay, yeah. It's the Friday Night Tights show. It's just like hanging out with the guys. Your average Patriot nerd. Thank you for the super chat. Great show, Keri. We appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for being a member, and everybody who helps support the channel. You allow me to spend as much time on it as I do. I appreciate that. And I'm really grateful for, let me tell you something. That list of so-called transphobes that I'm on, I'm really grateful, because I looked at that list and I'm like, thank God that there are so many people now. I think there's like 100,000 people or something on there, 50,000 people. At the very least, here are tens of thousands of people who are willing to say something, who are not afraid, or who are afraid but get over their fears and say something. And that's encouraging. And that's really different than it was even a few short years ago when I first started podcasting. I was on a different channel. That was like 2018. Even in that short amount of time, so many people have pushed past their fear. So many people are waking up. I still meet people all the time in my real life and online who are just now waking up and understanding that woke is not liberal, that woke is freaking evil, that woke is racist. There are still people waking up every day. Those are the people I care about, because I know that there are people who can change their mind. We have to turn culture around. I think we're doing a good job of it. Fun shows like Friday Night Tights, fun shows like that are doing a good job of it, of steering culture back to a more normal place, back towards reality. So, yeah, I look at that list. I look at that list of transphobes. I'm very grateful. I'm like, look at all these people. Look at all these people who are not afraid to say something. If you're new to this channel and you feel alone, maybe you just woke up and you feel like too scared to say something in your real life right now, that's okay. We've all been there and gotten past that. We've all gotten past that. It's so much better when you get past it. Then you're free. Then you can say whatever you want. Once they've already marked me as a bad guy a long time ago, it doesn't matter. I know I'm not a bad guy. You know what you are. So who cares? Who cares about the wrong ideas that bad people have about you? Okay. Yes, make truth cool again. Exactly. And fun. Fun again. Oh, there's somebody else on the list. Yeah, they gave us all numbers. Lavender Rose is here. Lavender Rose loves women. She says, I'm a TERF. That's the lingo that the woke they call you if you live in reality. They say you're a trans exclusionary radical feminist, which is funny because even a bunch of people who are not feminists, they call them this. So anyway, you're all a feminist now. So she says, TERF agent of chaos, number 69848, reporting for duty. They gave us all numbers. So Lavender, you're number 69,848. That's amazing. Like I said, there's at least 69,848 people on this list who are not afraid to say the truth. That's awesome. Proud agent of chaos. Yeah. Okay. I'm signing off. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, your Friday. Maybe I'll see you in the chat at FNT. I got to go hang with my husband a little bit before he goes to his show, but then maybe I'll see you over there. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you'd like to subscribe, it's free to subscribe at YouTube. Just hit the little subscription bell. And we're also simulcasting on Rumble. You can follow the channel at Rumble. If you would like to support, you can do that. If you'd like to contribute financially in any way, you can do that at Locals, Patreon. You can do it here at YouTube or at Rumble, and also at Subscribestar. Thank you guys. Thank you to Pirate for modding today, and have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday at 1 o'clock Central. Okay, take care.